Spider-Man versus Miles Morales. They're two of the most powerful street-level heroes in Marvel, and Miles just keeps on getting more and more powerful. But is he powerful enough to take down the OG Spider-Man? Who would win in a fight between the two? And really, is this fight even close? Let's get into it. Miles was just an ordinary teen until he was bitten by the Oz formula modified spider that had been snuck out of the then defunct Oscorp. This bite granted him a wide array of powers, including the traditional Spider-Man power set, but it also came along with electric-based powers that he dubbed his Venom sting, and the ability to become invisible. Miles would then serve as his universe's Spider-Man for years, Earth 1610, and he'd even occasionally interact with the Peter Parker of Earth 616. During the events of Secret Wars, though, Miles was one of the few people to survive the end of all things, and actually ended up being one of the few people from the Ultimate Universe to survive the rebirth of the multiverse due to Molecule Man's favor. Since then, him and his family have been living out in Earth 616. He's been a member of the Avengers, the Champions, the Ultimates, and one of the most important heroes in the world. Miles has all the proportionate strength of a spider, meaning that he's easily superhumanly strong. Like strong enough to easily lift up and throw around a police car, a large box truck, or even a shipping container, which would mean that he's lifting and throwing around up to 34 tons if that shipping container is full. And the crazy thing is that Miles is still kind of growing into his strength. This isn't near his full limit just yet. But even if he hasn't quite maxed out in strength, Spider-Man can still throw a mean punch. Like the kind of punch that has no problem sending Green Goblin flying all around, even flying straight through buildings. The kind of punch that can one-shot a lot of opponents, can beat Hammerhead all up even with his fancy adamantium skull, and just generally overpower everyone that he runs across. And just like Peter, Miles is always holding back in a fight. When the moment calls for it, Miles will sometimes stop holding back, like when he shattered Cap's shield with just one punch. Now granted, this was Hydra Cap, and also wasn't Steve Rogers' classic vibranium shield, but it was still really tough, and Miles broke it with just one hit. And it's not just the proportionate strength of a spider either. Miles is way tougher than pretty much everyone else around him. He's been thrown way far by Rhino and was just fine. Has actually repeatedly been fine after taking punches from Rhino, from Green Goblin, both of which have given Peter Parker a bunch of trouble in the past. He survived hits from Morlun, who can straight up kill other Spider-Men, and it's never just physical punches. Like one of Prowler's sonic attacks was able to do this. Miles took a whole freaking beatdown from him. He's survived heat-seeking missiles, energy blast from Vision, and powerful electric attacks, heat that can melt Iron Man's armor, or even surviving hours of intense torture and experimentation that was meant to bring him to his breaking point. But the best thing that Spider-Man has going for him? Well, it's the same as any other Spider-Man, his speed and agility. Spider-Man can move and react within microseconds. Iron Man once told him that he had to destroy an ancient artifact in a microsecond in order to prevent an army from making it through the portal, and Miles was successful. He's regularly been able to dodge bullets, react to bullets, block bullets, even after they've been fired. And sometimes they were fired by some of the world's best marksmen, like Winter Soldier. So it's not so much a matter of bad aim or missed shots. Miles is simply just faster than bullets. And he's able to use that kind of speed to regularly dance around opponents, easily react to punches and attacks thrown his way. His reaction times and reflexes make him nearly untouchable. And then on top of that, you throw in his spider sense? It's a miracle that Miles has ever been tagged before. It warns him of pretty much every incoming attack, and allows him to predict what will happen next, oftentimes before the attacker actually even has the chance to attack. But those are all normal Spider-Man powers. What sets Miles apart are his electricity powers and the ability to turn invisible. With his invisibility, well, he's regularly able to use it to sneak up on opponents and get the drop on them, catching them by surprise and taking them out. He's also able to use it to sneak around or to hide from enemies. And he's like ridiculously good at this too. Like Miles was able to stay hidden on the Maker's ship, where villains like Thanos, Namor, and the Maker were hanging out and none of them knew he was there. Then Spider-Man's body also produces a powerful form of bioelectricity, which Miles can then manipulate all sorts of different ways. Like he learned how to discharge energy blast from his hands, which he calls Venom Blast, which can either simply daze someone or knock them out entirely. Like he's used them to knock out Venom, knock out Rhino, they've knocked out Spider-Man before. He's even somehow managed to knock out Fin Fang Foom, an injured Null. He can fire Venom stings out as energy blast. He'll regularly use them to amp his punches and make them more powerful. And Spider-Man is also able to do what he calls a Mega Venom Blast. That's where he releases a powerful blast of energy from all over his body, destroying most of the area around him, and he can use it to take out a whole group of enemies. And recently, Miles has even been learning how to create constructs out of bioelectric energy, like creating electric webbing or even electric swords. However, I want you to take all that, everything I've just said, and throw it out the window, because now we're talking about the OG Spider-Man, good old Peter Parker. Like with strength, well, he's able to easily throw around cars and trucks, even lift subway cars clear over his head, or even private jets. Heck, Peter is able to lift up one of those massive construction cranes, or even basically help support and lift up buildings all by himself. And man, Spidey can use all that strength and throw one heck of a punch. He's been able to fight against some of his toughest villains, Venom, Rhino, Electro, and punch them clean through buildings. That's just a regular thing for him. On one hand, Peter can knock out a guy with just one finger, and on the other hand, he can actually injure the Hulk. No doubt about it, Spider-Man is stupid strong. He's also incredibly tough. Spider-Man has taken punches from Juggernaut, Hulk, Apocalypse, Hercules, and Gladiator, been just fine. Spider-Man actually rests by letting normal people punch him. That's how tough he is. He's taken lightning from Thor, over 100,000 volts of electricity, and okay, he's taking grenades at point blank range, repeatedly taking blasts and attacks from different Iron Man armors. Spidey's even survived a Scud missile exploding right on top of him. He's pretty much immediately recovered from nerve strikes from Iron Fist. Spider-Man is also pretty much immune to any toxin or chemical attack because his body can just instantly filter it out. His body's even held off enough toxin to wipe out an entire city. Then finally, Spider-Man is legit one of the fastest and one of the most agile characters in all of comics. He's able to move faster than the eye can see and just appear like a blur to even well-trained fighters. He can literally move across miles in just seconds. And forget just simply dodging bullets. That stuff is too easy for Spider-Man at this point. He's legit dodging lightning and dodging energy blast. Even energy blasts that are supposedly faster than light itself. And all that translates into Spider-Man routinely being able to speed blitz most opponents he goes up against, even with the likes of Black Panther or Daredevil or other master martial artists. Even though they might be more skilled than Pete, Spider-Man is just so much faster that he's gonna land his hits anyways. Spider-Man also has the perfect counter to pretty much anything that comes his way, his spider sense. Spider-Man will know every move that his opponent's about to make, just because his spider sense is gonna tell him. And the spider sense isn't just a warning system telling him when he's about to get hit, but it's also essentially a radar, giving him complete awareness of all his surroundings. There's also Spider-Man's web shooters to take into account. They've been able to restrain the likes of Iron Man, even Hercules, and other gods. On top of that, Spider-Man's webbing is basically fireproof, acid-proof, and nearly impossible to cut through. And Peter also isn't really a bad fighter either. In fact, Spider-Man has worked with the top martial arts expert in Marvel, Shang-Chi, to develop his own personal fighting style called the Way of the Spider, meant to enhance his spider powers and give Peter some measure of fighting skill. So at the end of it all, could Miles actually win here? Could he beat Peter? Well, Miles does have a good edge. He's got pretty much every single power that Pete has, but on top of that, he's got all of his bioenergy powers and Venom Blast, plus the ability to turn invisible. And even when it comes to physicality, sure, Peter might be stronger now, but you could argue that's just because he's older. Give Miles a few more years to grow and mature, and that difference goes away. We've already seen that Miles is roughly just as strong as Pete was when he was Miles' age. Same with experience. Sure, Peter has plenty more years of experience with the whole super heroics thing, but again, give it a few more years for Miles, and that could become a non-factor. But of course, Miles isn't quite there just yet, and you really don't want to discount Pete's physicality. Like, Peter is constantly holding back his true strength. When Doc Ock took over Spider-Man's body for a little while, well, he accidentally took off a villain's jaw one of the first times he threw a punch. He had severely underestimated just how strong Peter was, and never knew that Spider-Man was holding back in every one of his fights. On top of that, when the daughter of Peter Parker time traveled back to the past to see her dad in his prime, well, the one thing that she was shocked at wasn't just that he was very strong, but that he was very fast, which is actually a rare combination in Marvel. Usually the strongest characters tend to be clunky and slower compared to their faster, agile counterparts, but not Spider-Man. While he might not be the fastest or the strongest, the best way to put it is that he's stronger than everyone faster than him, and faster than everyone stronger than him. I'm not even kidding with that here. Spider-Man is consistently faster than pretty much everyone he fights. He's even able to blitz a whole team of Avengers, which included the likes of Iron Man, Captain America, Blade, and Captain Marvel. So the dude is stupid fast. He's also stupid strong, because again, when Peter stops holding back his strength, well, you can see that he's actually genuinely one of the strongest men on the planet. Dude is an absolute monster. It's just that he's consistently holding back his strength in pretty much every fight he's in. And of course, one area where Peter does have a clear edge over Miles is intelligence. Sure, sometimes Miles is portrayed as pretty smart on his own, but more often than not, he's just like a regular guy. Meanwhile, Peter is like the top 10 smartest people in the Marvel Universe. He's often able to outthink his opponents, come up with unique solutions to problems, and he'll use math and science to defeat his most powerful villains. Now, when it comes down to it, yeah, Miles might physically surpass Peter one day. He's definitely growing in power. It could happen. And his bioelectric powers and invisibility will always give him an edge in a fight. But I don't think he'll actually ever get to be better than Spider-Man. See, Peter right now isn't the strongest Spider-Man. That would probably be Scarlet Spider. He's not the fastest or doesn't have the best spider sense. That would be Silk. He might not even be the smartest. That'd be a toss-up with Superior Spider-Man. What Peter does have is the best balance between all his powers and abilities. That's what essentially makes him the best of the spiders. It's the same as over in the Bat family. Nightwing is more acrobatic than Batman. Red Hood much more brutal and ruthless than Batman. Tim Drake is the better detective, Cassandra Cain is the better hand-to-hand fighter, Damian is even the better warrior and soldier. But still, none of them are actually better than Batman. Because while they might be better at him in one thing, Batman is better at them in everything else. Peter Parker is like that for the Spider family. There may be some things that he can't do, but he's still the best of them. Yeah, Miles is getting more and more powerful and developing more and more powers, but he's not beating the OG anytime soon. Spider-Man would still come out on top here every single time. It's not even really close. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.